This warrior may have stood over 9 feet tall. He carried a spear with an iron tip weighing 600 shekels, and he wore armor weighing 5,000 shekels of bronze. For centuries, scholars and historians thought that the story of David and Goliath was mere legend. But archaeologists may have uncovered something connected to Goliath's own city. For many years, scholars questioned whether David was actually a real king. But in 1993, archaeologists discovered an ancient stone inscription known as the Tel Dan Stele. And on that stone appears one phrase, House of David. The inscription shows that a dynasty named after David was known in the ancient world. But if David was remembered throughout history, what about that giant warrior that he fought? The Bible tells us that Goliath came from the Philistine city of Gath. Today, archaeologists identify that city with the site of Tel Es Safi. Excavations there reveal something fascinating. Gath was not a small town. During the Iron Age, it was one of the largest cities in the region, possibly even larger than Jerusalem. Massive fortifications and city walls show that this was a powerful Philistine stronghold. In 2005, archaeologists uncovered a pottery shard with 2 names written on it. The names were written in early alphabetic script. These names were... When scholars studied this inscription, they noticed something very intriguing. The pronunciation of these names is very similar to the name Goliath. While the inscription does not prove the exact biblical Goliath, it shows that names like Goliath were actually used in Gath during this period. The Bible describes something else that made Goliath terrifying: his size. According to the first book of Samuel, Goliath was 6 cubits and a span tall. That could place him somewhere around 9 feet tall. To the Israelite soldiers on the battlefield, he would have been enormous. Now, Goliath wasn't just tall. He was a warrior. And as a warrior, he had special tools in the form of armor and weapons. And Goliath was no exception. The Bible states Goliath wore a coat of armor weighing 5,000 shekels of bronze. That equals roughly 125 pounds. This description closely resembles scale armor, where hundreds of pieces of small bronze scales would be sewn onto a leather base, and that would be worn as the armor. Archaeologists have discovered examples of this armor across the ancient Near East. It was typically worn by elite warriors. In Israel, in 1963, in ancient Philistine territory, a giant set of armor was discovered. 800 bronze scale armor pieces were found. Too heavy for an average man, these pieces made one armor set. And it wasn't alone. A cache of spears were also found, and they were of gigantic proportions. The Bible states the iron spearhead of Goliath alone weighed 600 shekels. That equals about 15 pounds. Let's put that into perspective. On your screen right now, you can see the picture of the cache of spearheads that were found with the armor set. If you paid attention to the letter D, that was the biggest spearhead that was found in the cache with the armor. I made a replica of that, and this is what I came up with. Using the dimensions that they give at the museum, I just cut it out of cardboard. So this would have weighed 5 pounds, and with the shaft, would have weighed way more. This would have been really hard for a normal person to use long term, but probably could have been wielded for a little bit. To compare this is what a normal spearhead would look like. It would have weighed 1 pound, and with the shaft included, would have weighed maybe 4 pounds at the most. Would have been really easy to use. Anyone could have used it, and the average man could have used it for long periods of time without fatiguing. This one, however, would fatigue you quickly, and most people probably couldn't effectively use it on the battlefield. But all of these that were found in the cache show signs of use and possible war use. So what I did was I used the dimensions off of this and I scaled it up to see what Goliath's spearhead would look like. And this is what I came up with. As you can see, this is huge. This will weigh 15 pounds just in the head of a spear, not counting the shaft on it. No average person could use this effectively. Only someone of giant proportions and strength could have wielded this effectively. And that's exactly what Goliath was, someone that was very strong and very big and able to use this. Now, if you want to see the size comparison, this is the biggest one that you can see. Now, these aren't alone. Archaeologists have found several giant weapons of proportion throughout the Philistine area. If you look at Megiddo, excavations have uncovered unusually large weapons. The Bible even describes other giant warriors connected to Gath. One passage describes a warrior with 6 fingers on each hand and 6 toes on each foot. These traditions suggest that the ancient world remembered warriors that were of great size and were very formidable. When we combine the discoveries from Gath, the inscription with a name similar to Goliath, the heavy armor described in the Bible, and the massive weapons found across the region, a fascinating picture begins to emerge. The story of David and Goliath was set in a real ancient world, a world of powerful cities, elite warriors, and dramatic conflicts. And somewhere in that world, a little shepherd boy stepped out to face a giant.